As a geeks, GA4 event tracking might be really confusing, and there are 4 event types in GA4. Yeah, we will have a look at it together. My name is Sofiia, and today we will go through each event type one by one. But before we start, so that we are on the same page, what is an event? Well, this is not a festival and not a concert. This is a user interaction on your website or in your application. We are working with the website, so this is why we will focus on the first option. And just imagine, users can go to your website and then click different buttons, submit a form, or buy a product. And these are exactly the interactions that we would love to track in order to gain some insights, to understand what is happening on our website, how users are interacting with it. And then we can conduct our analysis. When it comes to GA4, before you implement any events, it is crucial to understand the structure of those events. What do I mean by this? You should always start with 2 questions. What do you want to count, and how would you describe it? And this is exactly the structure of events in GA4. So here we have the new event model, and we have the event name and some descriptors. So these are additional data points that describe our events better. Let me show you an example. We have page view, and this is the event name. And then we have some additional descriptors such as page location, page title, and so on. Or clicked button, this is our event, but additionally, we can collect some data points such as button text, button color, button link, and so on. Or form submit, we can have form ID, form type, form name, and these descriptors are called event parameters. This is something you should always remember before you start implementing events in GA4. There are 4 event types, and we have automatically collected events, enhanced measurement events, recommended events, and custom events. This might sound confusing right now, but stay with me, we will tackle this together. So automatically collected events are events that GA4 collects by default once you install it on your website. So for example, we have first visit or session start. Then we have enhanced measurement events, and these events are collected also automatically. You should make sure that you enable this feature in your GA4 settings. Recommended events must be installed manually, so you must implement those, but these are the events that have some predefined names and parameters, and you can find those in Google documentation. And then come custom events. So let's say you did not find the event name that is suitable for your case in the list of those recommended events, and this is where you would set up a custom event, and you can also send any parameters you want. So to sum up, automatically collected and enhanced measurement events are collected automatically. You don't have to do anything here, whereas recommended and custom events require your efforts, so you must set up them manually. And now we will have a look at each event type separately so that you can feel confident and you can distinguish those event types without any problem. The first event type we will cover is automatically collected events, and you already know that these are some basic events that are collected by GA4 automatically once you install your tracking onto your website. In my case, I'm working with the Google Tag Manager, and here you can see my GA4 installed. I'm working with the new GTM container. This is why I have my Google tag here. If you do not know what Google tag is, please check out the video I created about it. So this is the new tag template that you should use to install GA4 via Google Tag Manager. But we will not focus on it that much in this tutorial because this one is dedicated purely to event tracking in GA4. So my GA4 is installed on my website, and now I want to see what is happening. I can also see my events in GA4 in debug view, but I must activate it first. And there are two ways I can do it. One is to use the Google Tag Manager preview, or we could also use an extension called GA Debugger. I will go with the first option. So let's click preview. Here you should provide the website URL and let's click connect. And here we go. This is my website, Tag Assistant connected. Let's go to analytics, and in the admin section, in the second column, you can find the debug view and we can see what happens. Do not freak out if you do not see any events. It might take some time for the events to show up here. And here you can see an example of automatically collected events. We have first visit and we also have session start. So these are exactly our automatically collected events. They always come by default with GA4. Okay, so there is not much you can change here, and we can talk about the next event type, and these are the enhanced measurement events. You remember when you create a new stream, here you also have this enhanced measurement that you can enable. So this is what I did. And by doing this, you can collect some events automatically. For example, page views, scrolls, outbound clicks, site search, and so on. And you can also control them here. If you click configure, you can disable or enable some. Page views are always enabled by default. Scrolls, so here, if you want, you can deactivate those. And this is for each event type. What is a scroll? So this is when user scrolls to the very bottom of your page. You cannot track the scroll percentage here, yet when the user scrolls 90% of your page. For example, if you want to set up scroll percentage, then you would have to configure it manually. Then we have outbound clicks, and these are the clicks on links that take your users to another website. For example, you have a link on your website that redirects your users to Amazon, and analytics is smart enough to identify those outbound clicks. Site search, do not confuse it with Google search, because this is exactly when users search something on your website, when you have the search field. Then form interactions, I'm not sure how reliable this one is. We always recommend to deactivate it because it tends to track many false positives, but of course it depends on your preferences. Then we have video engagement and file downloads, and in the Google documentation you can also see the format of files supported with this one. And these are exactly the enhanced measurement events that you can track, and you can view it as a baseline of tracking. By simply enabling this feature, you already see some data flowing into your GA4 property. And let's say you don't have a developer right now who could install tracking. And this is the way how you can do some analysis with the data that you have. Of course, you should not rely on enhanced measurement that much, and in some cases it would make sense to customize your tracking on your own so that you can have full control over your data and you know how it works, and in this way you can achieve better results, and this is doable with the help of recommended or custom events. Okay, but let me show you those enhanced measurement events. I will go back to my debug view right here and also to my website. And let's say I go to albums and I scroll to the very bottom of my page. Let's see what happens here. And voila, this is my scroll event. And there are also the parameters. And if you see percent scrolled, it's 90. So it's always 90. Again, if you want to track scroll percentage, you would have to do it manually. Another example, let me go back to my website. And here I have some outbound links. And let me click Amazon. Okay, let's go back to the debug view and let's see what happens. We have to wait So again, do not panic if you don't see your events immediately, it's normal. And we have the click event. And we also have the parameters such as link URL, link domain, and so on. And we see outbound true. So it might be a bit confusing because the standard name for it is click, right? But this is exactly the outbound click. So please remember it. This is the event name that is used in GA4. So these are the enhanced measurement events in the tool, and this is how you can also view them and work with them. And we can move to the third event type, that is recommended events. I navigated to my website and I will show you an event I would love to set up. Here I have this beautiful sign up form. Well, not that beautiful because this is the demo shop, but still. And this is what I want to track when a user submits this form. So let me quickly do it. I will use the lorem fill extension, saves a lot of time when I click submit. And here we have a thank you page. And I would love to track it. So this is my sign up form. Step number 1 before implementing any events is checking the Google documentation. And here we have this guide, GA4 recommended events. And if you scroll down, you can find those event names. Let's look for our sign up. And here we go. So this is exactly the name I should use if I want to set up my recommended event. If I click on it, I am redirected to the developer's guide, and I can also see the parameters that are suggested by Google. For example, method. So for sign up, we have method, and this is the method used for sign up. As an example, okay, so I checked the event name, the event parameter, and I can go back to my tag manager and I can start setting up this event. We should click New, Tag Configuration, Google Analytics, and this is exactly our GA4 event. Here we should put our measurement ID, and I saved it as a constant. Oh, they fixed the bug. Oh, this is amazing, because before there was an error shown, but now it's working. Great. It's amazing to see how Google is reacting to complaints of people and is fixing those bugs. Okay, anyways, please save it as a constant. It's just my suggestion, because each time you create a new event, you would have to put the measurement ID and you would have to copy it manually. It makes way more sense to save it as a variable and simply reuse it. Okay, event name. You remember the name. It's sign up and it must be exactly the way it is here, right? And we have the snake case, everything in small letters with the underscore. And I also want to add my parameter. So I can say method. Yes, so you remember that this one is recommended by Google. As an example value, I would provide web form. And we could also provide a name to our tag. Okay, so this is a tag, and now a question. When should my tag fire? We should add a trigger and we can specify the condition. In my case, we have this thank you page, the sign up form success. So I could use it as a trigger. So let's go to trigger. I will select page view. I don't want to track all page views, yet some specific. And this one is exactly my success page. So I can say page URL contains, and we should also provide a name to our trigger. Let's save the trigger and we can test our implementation. So let's click preview, connect again, and here we go. What do I have to do? I have to submit my sign up form, and I will also open the debug view in GA4 to see what happens. Okay, the lorem fill again, submit. So this is my success page. Here we can see tags fired, GA4 event sign up. So this is a good sign. Let's see what happens in GA4. And here we go, our beautiful sign up event. And if we check the parameter, we can also see my parameter method web form. Okay, then a question to you. Should I register this event parameter as a custom definition? Because you know that in GA4, in order to access the event parameters that you configured, you must register them as custom dimensions and metrics. What should I do in this case? Well, I can go to explorations, and here, just an example, I will create something and I will look for dimension called method just to see if it is there. And here we can see the method used to sign up, login or share. Great, so I don't have to register it because it is available by default and I can use to create my custom reports in explorations. The second way, and actually my preferred way of checking it, is using the GA4 cheat sheet. Let me show you this one. It's called the Data Spy, and if I type method, I can find the information about this parameter. And you can see how it is populated, and it is available in Looker Studio and in explorations. So this is an extremely helpful tool and I'm using it on a regular basis, and I also recommend it to you. Okay, so this is how you configure a recommended event. And of course, if you want to make your changes live, you should go to your tag manager and publish your container. Okay, so let me submit this form just to see what happens here. I'm going to the debug view. Let's wait for the event to show up. Do not freak out. It's fine if it takes a bit more time. Okay. That's so weird. Where does it come from? Okay. Troubleshooting 101. What should I do? Okay, so we can see newsletter sign up, although I configured my event in the tag manager and it's called sign up. What could be the reason why I see this one in my debug view? Well, actually, many people have access to this specific GA4 property because we use it to show you some test implementations. We use it for our trainings. So I assume Julian or Prava, they were showing something. Let me see if I go to events, because in GA4, you also have a feature that allows you to create your events directly in the interface. Here we have modify event and create event. If I click create event, so here we go. This is our culprit. I was already freaking out. So you can see that this event is also configured with the help of the create event feature, and this is why it shows up in the debug view. You should be extremely careful when you are implementing events this way. I'm not saying that this is good or bad feature, but I prefer having everything in Google Tag Manager so that I have full control over my event tracking, and then I know what is happening, why it is happening, and in this case you can avoid any chaos that could happen in your project. But of course, it's just for you to see how you can set up your events, and then you can also know where these events come from. Let me show you an example with the contact page view, because we also have it here. How does it work? Let me go to my page, and here I have this contact us page, and I would love to track it. I don't have a developer available, and let's say I don't have access to my Google Tag Manager. What could I do? I could go click create event, and this is where I provide a new event name. So in this case, contact page view. And then you remember that we are tracking page views automatically. So this is something done by default. This is why I can filter my page views to track that specific contact page view. So here I say event name equals page view. So I take the page view that is collected by default and I filter it down, specifying the condition. Page location should contain contact. And this is how GA4 would start tracking this specific page view. And of course, you have to save it. So again, this is a new feature of GA4 and be careful playing with it. And we're moving to the last event type number 4, which is, which one? You know the answer. Yes, custom events. And before we set up a custom event, please like this video and also don't forget to subscribe because this is how we can share the knowledge with people out there. Alright, so this is my website and let's say I would love to track a click on hoodies here in the menu. How can I do it? That's a good question. So let's say I checked the list of recommended event names and I did not find a proper name that would suit my case. What could I do? Yeah, I could set up with my own name. Alright, the first step before we track it, we go to the tag manager, variables, and we have to make sure that our click-based variables are activated. So click configure, and here let's select those clicks because later we will use them in order to create our triggers. So we will create conditions based on those variables. All right, and now let's hit preview. I should provide my URL. Let's click connect. What do I have to do? I have to click hoodies right here. And you can see the link clicked. So Google Tag Manager is smart enough to identify that there was a link click. We can go to variables and we can have a look what we could use as the trigger. Click class, click ID, nothing here, but we have click text because I want to track that specifically. So I can use this click text hoodies. Okay, so I'm ready to create my trigger. Let's go to the tag manager. We go to triggers, new, trigger configuration. Here again, we have link click. This is why we select just links. We don't want to track all link clicks, yet some specific link click. And we can say click text and we can copy the click text here. And let's paste it. And we can also provide a name. Let's save our trigger and now we can set up our tag. Let's go and click new tag configuration. This should be GA4 event measurement ID. We can look for our ID. Yes, awesome. And event name. Let's come up with the event name, something like menu item click. You can provide any name you want here. Just remember that in GA4 we have so-called grammar rules, so you should use snake case when it comes to event naming. Okay, I also want to send an event parameter just for demonstration purposes so that you can see that we can also attach custom parameters. So let's say clicked menu item. And we can select the click text, just again as an example. And triggering, we have configured our trigger. We should also provide a name to our tag. Let's save our tag and we should test our implementation. Let's click preview to see what happens. Okay, let me go here and I will click hoodies. And we should see the text fire GA4 event menu item click. Awesome. Let's go to GA4 work. Yes, debug view. And let's see what we have here. And this is our event menu item click. And if I check it, I also send the parameter that was the clicked menu item hoodies. Okay, but is it the whole implementation? Is it done completely? you remember that we should register our event parameters if we want to access them in GA4. How can I do it? Yeah, we should go to custom definitions. This is where you can find them. And then we go to create custom dimension. We want to create one dimension name. I will go back to my tag manager, and here I have the clicked menu item. I will simply copy it, place it here, scope event, description. This is where you can provide a description, and it should be a precise one. Yeah, it's a good practice, especially if there are many people working on the project together, and this is how they can quickly identify what it is about. An event parameter, it must be exactly the same the way it is in Google Tag Manager. Let's click save, and voila. So now you would have to wait for your event to get registered in GA4. It can take up to 24 hours. And this is how you configure a custom event. One more time, do not forget to register your event parameters as custom definitions. And I hope now you have a better understanding of all those event types in GA4. Happy measuring! See you next time!